Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Annie Lau. Here are tonight's top stories. The government looks at vaccine passports as a new COVID variant triggers alarm. More than 10,000 police officers will be deployed when Hong Kong votes for a new legislature. And migrants stranded in northern France are determined to cross the sea to England. Unvaccinated people may be barred from entering public places such as restaurants to prevent the spread of a new COVID variant named Omicron. The government is looking into launching vaccine passports after 2 cases of the new strain were detected in Hong Kong. A new COVID variant named Omicron has sent alarm bells ringing globally. 2 cases were detected locally, and the authorities are determined to prevent more infections.
區分打針同埋唔打針嘅人士嘅一啲嘅做法咧。
Civil Service Chief Patrick Nip, who oversees the vaccination drive, said the government is looking into rolling out vaccine passports. This will give those who received vaccinations access to public places. Nip said vaccine passports have been adopted by many countries to offer their citizens better protection. Sources said authorities might require people who go to venues such as cinemas, theme parks and restaurants to be vaccinated. The government is also aiming to push the city's inoculation rate higher than the current 70%. It will send vaccination vehicles to public housing estates to make it easier for the elderly to receive jabs. Nip said the first vehicle will be parked at Sun Choi Estate in Sha Tin next Friday and Saturday. Both Sinovac and BioNTech vaccines will be provided. Meanwhile, 11 community vaccination centers will be closed at the end of the year. 7 of the 10 remaining centers will offer BioNTech and the other 3 Sinovac. There were 3 imported COVID infections today. All carried a mutated strain and had been fully vaccinated. One was a 58-year-old flight crew member who arrived from Russia. Global governments are not taking any chances with the new highly mutated coronavirus variants. Hong Kong is among places that have restricted travel from countries where Omicron has emerged. Winnie Wong reports.
Hong Kong has stepped up measures against southern African countries to stop any more Omicron cases from slipping into the city. Incoming passengers from 7 nations, including Botswana, Mozambique, and Namibia, have been banned unless they are Hong Kong residents. That's on top of South Africa, which is already on the list of high-risk countries and where most Omicron cases have been discovered so far. The European Union, the United States, and Britain are among a long list of countries that halted travelers from the region. Switzerland and Russia, meanwhile, are banning anyone apart from their own citizens from flying in from Hong Kong. That's after the SAR government announced on Thursday that a man in quarantine at the Regal Airport Hotel had been infected with the new strain and is suspected of passing it to his neighbor in the next room. South Africa, however, is upset at being snubbed.
Many of the countries which have come with this kind of draconian reaction are themselves battling with a 4th wave, with a high spike. At no stage did they say that they've got evidence that, firstly, that this virus is more transmissible.
The dramatic global response came after the World Health Organization assigned a Greek alphabet name to the new variant. The global health body skipped the 13th letter to avoid confusion between new and new. Xi was also passed to prevent it from getting associated with the Chinese president.
Omicron B11529 is named as a variant of concern because it has some concerning properties. This variant has a large number of mutations, and some of these mutations have some worrying characteristics.
The WHO says scientists need more time to figure out the many unknowns about Omicron's mutations. Winnie Wong, HKIBC.
Locally again, an intensive search is underway for a 29-year-old man who was reported missing after he went hiking in Tycoon yesterday. The search began overnight and continued this morning as government flying service helicopters scoured the coastal areas of Peck Lap 1. Firefighters and police are also involved in the operation to find Ng Gang Yun. Before leaving his home in Tin Shui Wai, Ng told his family that he planned to hike to Mok Min Cave, but he didn't return. A philosophy book with political elements has been removed from the city's public libraries. The book, titled The Era of Philosophy, covers concepts such as democracy and resistance. It can no longer be found in the online catalogue. The book is written by a group calling itself Corrupt the Youth. Its other books are still available in public libraries. The government says any book that violates the national security law or relevant regulations will be temporarily removed. There will be a heavy police presence when Hong Kongers vote in next month's Legislative Council elections. More than 10,000 officers will be deployed to maintain order on polling day. Isaac Lee reports.
As Hong Kong prepares for the first polls under the new electoral system, the police have also been drawing up plans for December the 19th. Security will be tight around the 620 polling stations across the territory. After attending a graduation ceremony at the police academy in Wong Chuk Hang this morning, Commissioner Raymond Siu disclosed that more than 10,000 officers will be on duty during the Legislative Council elections.
我哋亦都會調配大量嘅便裝人員。
A large number of plainclothes police and special forces will also be deployed to ensure that voting proceeds smoothly. They will take action against anyone who tries to disrupt the elections. Siu also criticized those who sent threatening letters to judges and LegCo candidates. Some of the letters arrived from Taiwan. The police chief denounced what he called the childish and sneaky behavior and warned that the force will take follow-up action. Chief Secretary John Lee, meanwhile, encouraged people to come out and vote. Writing in his blog, he said next month's polls are more competitive and of a higher quality than previous elections. Lee said the candidates come from various walks of life, and he predicts that the next legislature will be broadly based. Isaac Lee, HKIBC.
Civil Service Secretary Patrick Nip says around 2,000 government workers left their posts last year. The total number of resignations was a few hundred more than in 2019, but Nip said that's still minimal compared with the 180,000 who are currently working for the government. He added that the Civil Service College will officially open next month and will offer courses on national affairs, the basic law and technology. Employees of 4 utility companies are seeking a wage increase of up to 6%. The Federation of Trade Unions surveyed 1,600 workers of Hong Kong Electric, CLP Power, Town Gas and PCCW and found that most want their pay raised by between 4 and 6%. The Federation said the firms made big profits despite the pandemic, but unlike previous years, did not give their staff a bonus. Macao tycoon Alvin Chow has been arrested after the authorities in the mainland city issued an arrest warrant for him. The businessman is accused of running illegal cross-border gambling rings. Winner Wong reports.
Alvin Chow, no stranger to gossip magazines because of his flamboyant lifestyle, was taken away earlier today by police in Macau. Also detained were members of his inner circle. The enclave's government reiterated that everyone in the gambling industry must strictly abide by the law. This comes after Wenzhou City on the mainland issued an arrest warrant for Chow, who is a director and chief executive of Sun City Group. Mainland authorities accused him of obtaining profits illegally. He is alleged to have done that by developing a network of over 12,000 agents within Chinese borders to promote his business. They are accused of encouraging people to take part in offshore and cross-border gambling. Chow is also alleged to have arranged money transfers to overseas casinos for his clients as part of a wide range of services surrounding gambling. In 2007, he founded Sun City Group, which is now one of Macau's biggest junket operators. The company operates a list of resorts around the globe, and the Tycoon also dabbles in the film industry. Gambling is illegal on the mainland, but Chinese citizens with visas are allowed to visit casinos in Macao. Wen Wang, HKIBC.
Overseas, migrants from the Middle East said they are determined to sail to Britain from France, although 27 people drowned while trying to cross the Channel earlier this week.
Very dangerous, yes.
But you're still going to do it?
99% we will die in the sea. But we should go. We don't have other way.
Children are among dozens of migrants shivering in a makeshift camp near the northern French city of Dunkirk as they wait for a chance to cross the treacherous channel in flimsy vessels. Most of the migrants are from Iraq or Afghanistan, where conditions have deteriorated after years of conflicts. The situation has become so bad that they are willing to risk their lives to start anew in countries such as Britain. But even those who succeed in reaching England are not guaranteed asylum. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has vowed to strengthen his country's defense capabilities. In a speech at a self-defense force base, Kishida expressed concern about North Korea's missile program and China's military expansion. He promised to study all options, including the capability to strike at hostile enemy bases. Such a move is controversial as Japan has strict restrictions on its use of force under its pacifist constitution. Calm appears to have returned to the Solomon Islands after violence rocked the capital, Honiara, earlier this week. A curfew has been imposed on the Pacific Island nation, with Australian police helping to maintain order. 3 bodies were found in the ruins of burnt buildings in Honiara. The protesters targeted Chinese-owned businesses. The unrest follows simmering anger over a decision by the Solomons government 2 years ago to end diplomatic relations with Taiwan and recognize China. On to the weather now. Fine and dry tomorrow with a temperature between 19 and 24 degrees, becoming cooler later in the week. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Saturday nights. Join us for more news at 10. I'm Annie Lau. Thanks for watching. Good night.